Off the top tonight, your voice, your vote. The presidential campaign making a swing through West Michigan today with former President Donald Trump speaking in downtown Grand Rapids. Trump's message focused on border security following the death of Grand Rapids' Ruby Garcia. Her boyfriend, who is in the country illegally, is charged with her death. We have two reports tonight. Jeremiah Brown spoke with protesters who are upset about the president's message, but we begin with political reporter Josh Albertus, who attended today's news conference.
Former President Donald Trump on Tuesday making his first visit to Grand Rapids of the 2024 race, honing in on the issue of immigration and the U.S. border.
But not one more innocent life should be lost to Biden migrant crime. The first step to restoring safety in America is to fire crooked Joe Biden, get him out November 5th, and we're going to get him out. We're going to have more people voting, I think, than anybody can even imagine.
Trump faulting President Joe Biden's administration for policies he and his allies say have failed.
We have a process. People should be processed into the country. They should, go through, some kind of a review. Open borders is not an immigration policy.
Trump connecting the visit to a backdrop of a community in mourning after 25-year-old Ruby Garcia was allegedly murdered by her boyfriend, Brandon Ortiz Vite, who officials later confirmed had entered the country illegally. Trump and his allies made mention of Garcia.
We're going to deliver justice for Ruby. We're going to watch what happens with this thug.
A connection to Garcia's death that's been condemned by Democrats and some immigration activists. The state's Democratic Party chair responding to the visit, saying she believes it was motivated by self-interest.
He only cares about himself and whatever will help or do what he thinks will help his campaign. And his goal here is to increase the rhetoric of anger and hate and to make people afraid, to make people vote out of fear and not out of confidence and comfort.
State Democrats also pushing back on the former president's decision to travel to Grand Rapids, saying they believe Trump is capitalizing on Garcia's death while also eclipsing the issue of domestic violence and what they see as his halt of a bipartisan border deal stuck in the U.S. Senate.
Ruby Garcia's death was a horrible tragedy. And so is every life taken by violence, including domestic violence, regardless of who commits the crime, period. But unfortunately, Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans are hell-bent on exploiting Ruby's death for their own politics.
A debate, including the tragic death of Garcia or not, is likely to last in Michigan till the general election.
Now, Josh, Trump's visit came after the murder of Ruby Garcia. Did he say if he spoke with her family about all of this?
He claimed he did. Trump said as part of his speech today that he spoke with some of Garcia's family. We reached out to the family, and a family member told us that claim was not true.
Josh, thank you. The Democratic National Committee is launching a billboard campaign to coincide with Donald Trump's visit to Grand Rapids today. The billboards are up along 131 and I-96. They call the former president out for, quote, tanking the bipartisan border deal. The DNC accuses Trump of putting his own political ambitions ahead of border security, saying President Joe Biden worked with other Republicans to find a bipartisan solution to secure the border. Those who both support and oppose former President Trump gathered in downtown Grand Rapids today. Dozens rallied against Trump's rhetoric toward migrants, and they voiced their support for Kent County's immigrant communities. 13 on Your Side's Jeremiah Brown spoke with people from both sides and has their reaction.
Beginning with a moment of silence for the death of Ruby Garcia, dozens of people gathered to rally against what they describe as Trump's anti-immigrant rhetoric in the aftermath of the death of Ruby Garcia.
One incident and the thousands and millions of people, of immigrants that come here to do the job that nobody else does in this country is what we need to hear and represents our community.
The group Movimiento Cosecha GR says Garcia's death is not reflective of the millions of immigrants in the country, saying many come to do vital jobs for the U.S. economy and are contributing members of society.
This young lady was a victim of domestic violence. That's what we need to talk about here on this incident.
Anybody who dies that way is a tragedy. I'm very sad for that, but I also am very angry that is being used for political gain.
Those protesting also spoke of the bipartisan border deal that was voted against by members of the GOP.
I think it's really wrong to spread a bunch of lies and just rile up Grand Rapids this way. I don't think that's right.
Those who came out to support former President Trump say they believe he has the best answers for the border.
There's bad people coming in along with the ones that want to work, and that's not good.
He really shows that he has heart. He cares about this country. He loves this country. He's made that clear from day one.
Jeremiah, was anything else being discussed by those downtown today?
Well, Juliet, those protesting against Trump today also demanded for a ceasefire in Gaza and chanted that refugees are welcome in West Michigan. Supporters for Trump spoke of his stances during the pandemic and says that he did well for the country when he was in office.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Several Michigan sheriffs also spoke today about border security and why they say more needs to be done. And that includes West Michigan Sheriff Frank Baker from Allegan County and Sheriff Daniel Abbott from Van Buren County. 13 on your side's Lauren Baker joins us now. Lauren, why do they say our state's being impacted by the border even though it's so far away?
Well, Juliet, Sheriff Abbott and Baker both claim that those who are illegally in the country are committing various crimes and adding to drug problems in their counties. Sheriff Abbott says after crunching the numbers in his jail, he says 40% of inmates in Van Buren County have an out-of-county residency. Of those 40%, 10% have an address from Mexico or Guatemala. The sheriff goes on to say that his officials say these people have committed various crimes, like violent sex crimes. Allegan County Sheriff Frank Baker agrees and says another issue is a growing drug problem in his county. He says border security is to blame because of the amount of meth that is being brought into his county has led to less people making it at their home and prices of the drug to drop, meaning more people can afford it. Listen to what Sheriff Abbott from Van Buren County had to say about the drug problem in his county.
To go even further on that, with the open borders the way they are, when President Trump was in office, our narcotic unit was buying a ball of meth, which is 3.5 ounces of meth, for $300 to $350 for a ball. As of this past week, a ball is $85 because the market's flooded by the tons coming across the open borders and semis. And when I say tons, I mean tons. It used to be a thing of the past, or it is a thing of the past, folks doing, making the meth in their own residences. They don't do it anymore.
He went on to say that there is also a drastic rise in fentanyl use and that his staff handles 2 overdoses a week. He says that's a high number when you take into account that his county's population sits at 76,000 residents. In the newsroom, Lauren Baker, 13 on your side.